5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Behind the scenes, behind the curtain. These are the stories that'll make you glad you became an accountant. This is Soundwaves TMI.
We're back. It's Soundwaves TMI. I'm Stephen Kirk. He's Dennis Willis. He's Joe Hawk. Look at that. We got Joe Hawk in the house.
Yeah, hashtag fuck Joe Hawk.
Make it a thing, everybody.
You know what? Hey, if you just turn into it, man, you'll get out there with a minor skid.
There you go.
So what should we do this time around?
Well, it was Mr. Hawk who actually asked a rather provocative question, and those are rare coming from him. So I entertained.
That never happens.
I entertained the idea, and I was like, "That's a very thoughtful and soulful idea you have there, Mr. Hawk." And so I thought we'd explore it, which is kind of. It started with what missteps have we all taken, or what misfortunes and stuff has happened in our careers in entertainment, but. The greater expansion of the idea, which I thought was really cool, was like, how did you first decide you wanted to entertain people?
Yeah.
At whatever level. So when did you first get bitten by the... And take us through that process, because I think that's a really interesting thing.
So I guess, I'll start at the end, because it was a very serendipitous moment for me to get into radio. Because I, growing up was, I've always fantasized about radio. I never thought about being on the radio. I always had... I grew up, the early 90s where it's like you see these, there's no internet, no social media. All you had were these voices, these events go on in this little speaker box in your car. And I thought it was magical. But it was in college when I was trying to figure out what major to get into or back into, because I definitely failed out of mechanical engineering. That's right. Joe Hawk was a mechanical engineering major at the beginning of college. Bad idea. Well, that's what happes when you're a big fan of Monster Garage and Orange County Choppers. Yeah, I thought...
You can't tell by looking at them.
No, not at all. A fraternity brother of mine handed me a flyer for KSJS. And then I was like, this sounds cool. You mean I can learn, get credits, and play punk rock for like 4 hours? All the stuff that I want to play that I don't get to hear on the radio because we're non-commercial. Let's freaking go.
Yeah.
And then, the rest is history. All my digressions over the years and stuff like that since 2022, December 1st.
Well, that's being part of the industry. So take me through that. So you're how old, and how long were you on KSJS?
So I was, let's see. So it was 2000, and I'm trying to go through my terrible academic semesters. So let's see. Freshman let's see. Removed. Got back. It was the spring of 2008 that I first started at KSJS. And, I did the whole class where you learn about how to run the station, all the ins and outs and stuff like that, plus also doing the class where you actually worked for the station. And I just fell in love with it because, it's one thing to be in a room with two of your good friends talking about stuff or whatever. There's something about being behind the mic by yourself at 2 a.m. on like a Friday night, and you're just, there's no one else in the building. You're cranked up to 10. We actually had a number 11 sketched in there from some of the older alumni, and just blasting the music you like to play, and then talking about it, and talking about all these nonprofits around the school and stuff like that. I just fell in love with it, and then from there, our good friend Mari Galaves, who also works at Cumulus, she was working at Clear Channel South. She's like, hey, we have openings for promo team. So she helped me get my very first job in commercial radio on the street team for, at the time, Channel 92.3 KSJO, which was an alternative station, and 98.5 KFOX, which is of course the South Bay's classic rock. And just seeing like the ins and outs, being there with like Tim Jeffries, Mega Tanner,
Greg
Kinn, who when he was still alive and stank of dank, dude, I got stories. Very great guy though. It was incredible to see an actually full blown running a radio station. And when I graduated in 2011, I'm like, I got it. I got to get back to it because unfortunately, both those stations were sold off in the spring of 2010. So I was only there for not even a full year because I got the job. I want to say early summer because at the time the Sharks were in the playoffs, and one of my first events was K-Fox on the scene for the Sharks playoff round at the time. Unfortunately, they got knocked out by the Chicago Blackhawks in 4 games in the second round. But I digress on that. But I want to say like entertaining has always been kind of part of me because I don't know if I told you guys this, but I did musical theater from 3rd grade all the way up to senior year of high school. And it was through my elementary school, St. Pius in Redwood City. We had a young people's theater, which allowed anybody within the parish or community from the age of 3rd grade all the way up to senior in high school. And my cousins, before my 3 older cousins who went to school, did it as well. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it too. I rose the ranks. Mm-hmm. I sang with this nice low pentameter. Because I was always like the class clown, little goofball, trying, always happy go lucky. My nickname when I was younger from all the adults was Smiling Joe. Because they say like, you came out of the womb smiling. So I was like, all right, that's
You two have a lot in common, probably more so than I realized.
Okay.
Just hearing you tell stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my deal deciding to become an entertainer also started on the stage when I was a junior in high school. Because, me in the mid-'70s as a Star Trek fan, that's not a good thing. It wasn't that, and me being just well over 5 foot tall, I was the target for a lot of abuse from the jocks and all that.
Yeah.
And so I was in the school choir because it was a required class. Okay. And then auditions came up for a play. And I hadn't done anything like that before. I didn't, I wasn't planning on it. But I ended up going and auditioning. It was a show called Scapino, which is a commedia dell'arte broad comedy. Right?
Okay.
And I ended up getting the lead. And so at that point, I'm getting in with, I was already in with the choir kids, but I'm getting in with the theater kids,
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, oh, these people understand me. Mm-hmm. They respect me. They dig me, And opening night for the show, and I wear contact lenses. And back then, we didn't have contact lenses, and so I had these big glasses, but I didn't wear the glasses on stage. So I'm out on stage, I'm doing my thing. And when I'm this far away from people, I can, spatially judge what's where and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the stage lights, the black foreground.
But actually what happened was a curtain call and people are coming out, bow, bow, bow. And I come out and I just see this, the applause ramps up to 11 and I just see the whole audience rise.
Oh,
I got a standing ovation for my first time out. I'm kind of like,
oh man,
wow. Yeah. This, I'm doing. This is something that I feel comfortable doing. This is something that I'm good at, and it's not just me going, I like this. It's these people out there going, we like what you did.
Yeah.
And to this day, I don't consider myself an actor or a singer. I've done all of those things. Or a DJ or whatever. I don't necessarily classify myself as anything like that because I've done a lot. I've film, television, theater, musical theater. I've done a lot. I consider myself an entertainer. That's my appellation that I kind of put for myself.
Yeah,
and I want to entertain people. I want to keep people happy. I want to keep them smiling or make them think or whatever. I want to be able to take the things that I can do and share them with people and get a reaction from them.
Yeah.
So,
what was one of your favorite productions you did when you were younger?
We did in high school. We did Once Upon a Mattress.
Okay.
And I wasn't one of the leads. I was Sir Studley, oddly enough, typecasting. No, but I was the guy who could take a fall. And in the show, the princess is this very tomboyish, very physical, and while everybody else is dancing all this court dancing and all that sort of stuff, she's just flinging people around. And me, I was the guy who she could like fling, and I go tumbling around and stuff like that. but at that, as that grew, I actually ended up with hanging out with theater people, and those were my people, and that's the way it is with the kind of stuff that we do with Soundwaves in particular. We've got our family, we've got our people, we found our tribe kind of thing. And for me, when I started doing that, I went from being the least popular kid in school to not the most popular, but pretty popular.
People knew who you were.
Yeah, and this is back when MASH was on TV, right? This is the original run, so we're talking a long time ago. But me and my pal, we ended up we had this MASH group in our theater group. And I was Hawkeye,
Nice.
And my buddy was Trapper, and we had a Frank Burns. And I remember distinctly one time while everybody's up rehearsing on stage, and the director's like, "God, you guys got to keep your shoes on." And this guy who was our Frank, he just, he just took his shoes off and left them. Well, I made green key lime pie filling. And I filled his shoes with it, and because it's a Hawkeye thing to do, and I was wearing my Hawaiian shirt and all that sort of, and so he, the director, "Go put your shoes on." "Oh, fine, and he goes, and there he is jumping around on stage, with the green stuff, and it's going all over the place and everything, and I'd have parties at my house. Nice. I mean, the classic, if you watch any 80s film where the parents are out of town, I'm talking like Risky Business or, where the parents are out of town, so there's a big kegger raging.
That was your house.
That was me.
Nice.
I don't know that I started that trend in cinema, but it really was one of those things. And I was one of the most popular guys in school, but also because back then the legal drinking age was only 18. Mm-hmm. And my birthday is in January, so when I got to my senior year in high school, I was also old enough to buy.
There you go.
So, we'd get the pony keg at the house, and my parents were off on a cruise, and we just tore that shit up all weekend, But we had, do you ever watch the MASH TV series?
I've watched a couple episodes. Yeah. It's been a while.
In the club where everybody hangs out, the officers' club, there's a big sign on the back wall. It was MASH 4077th with the Caduceus logo and stuff, and there are a bunch of signatures on it and stuff. So I made a sign like that, and we had it hanging up in the house, and people are coming in and signing it and stuff, and we had our T-shirts, our MASH T-shirts and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was this community, and that's where I actually first got into having a community, having friends, because this is before the days of fandom, for instance.
Yeah.
Like going to a Star Trek convention or Star Wars convention where you're there with your people. So this was my first time where I had a group of people that I considered to be friends. And that's kind of like what we've got here. I mean, because it's always been you and me.
Yeah.
But we've got this whole big, camaraderie thing going on with everybody that's part of the Soundwaves family. And how can you not want that?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I going back to like my theater time, because it was through my original like elementary school, it wasn't through my high school. So like during my high school years, and I kind of seen this throughout my entire life. I would kind of keep certain aspects of my life away because you get me for who I am. I don't need you to see me for something else because this is me. I would go through, during high school, go to my elementary school, do the theater and stuff like that. And, I told my friends and like, I'm doing this little production in February, and Annie, whatever. Like, we'll try to come through. And my friends did come through, granted a bunch of punk kids at a private, all boy school, but had them come through. And, but yeah, I don't think I really found the real like entertainment community until like college with KSJS, and then later on with working for Clear Channel South, and then later on with Cumulus, and now here I am with you guys. So I guess for me, I found my entertainment community a little bit later on in life, which no regrets. I'm happy I found you guys. It's all serendipitous, just like with me getting into radio and stuff. So
what about? So is Soundwaves your kicking off point to becoming,
kind of? I mean, like you guys, I fell in love with radio, and I remember I was watching public access before Soundwaves. I was 10 or something like that. I don't know. And I remember that they had the DJ shows on, and it was just a card with the phone number, and you could call and make a request and hear your name on TV, and it was the best. And I used to love that. There was one time when one of the DJs, Jim Vassanova, he was on once a week, but he did a 24-hour marathon. The newspaper article took a picture in the studio. And when that newspaper article, that's the first time I'd ever seen the studio, and it was a DJ booth. and my imagination just exploded. Like, here's this guy with these turntables and doing this for whatever. And I was just like, that kind of brought the whole thing, because I love DJs. I loved radio. The romance of it, the idea you can get on, talk about whatever, play whatever, back when you can play your own music, you know, or maybe there was stuff you had to play. But the whole idea was just like, oh my God, I want to do that. That's the most incredible thing. And I remember being a young teenager thinking, I got to find this place. I really need to discover this place that's in my town. And I just, at the very least, I need to see it. I didn't even think, I mean, yes, I wanted to have my own show, but I didn't think it was possible. And then when I got there, in fact, found out that you had to be 18, and I was 14. And so I became a volunteer. And within months of becoming a volunteer, one of the shows that I volunteered on, he knew how badly I wanted to do this, and I'd actually taken to mixing for him. Like, I would set up the records, cue up the records, and he'd come in and start them, and then get up, and he let me do that. And he was sick, and he's like, I don't have a voice. There's one more show of the year. If you want to do it, you know, come on in. And that was it. I had about 3 days to prepare. I got my buddy, and we did this thing, and there was no looking back now, you know, and it was radio. And I did that like that for a year. And that's all it was like, here's a card. And then when we turned the cameras on, it became a whole different thing. And I never thought I would sign up for that. I never thought, well, I want to be in front of a camera, because I don't really like being in front of a camera. You know? I don't think I ever have. And, but in doing so, I found my tribe, because people would come and hang out. It was a community thing. We'd say, hey, come on down. And kids did. And I met new friends. Yeah. And then as the show grew over the years, you know, crew family, and these people leave, and then they come back. And it's been this ever-changing thing for decades, where, you know, somebody could come in and work for a little bit, and then they peel off, but they come to a party. It's like the people who have been part of this thing that we do are always kind of there, and that's an amazing feeling, you know. So I didn't sign up for it, I kind of backed into it. But that moment of realization, it was just like, yeah, you know, that's cool.
All right, well, that's talking about the past. Let's take a little breakers break, and then come back and maybe talk the present and the future. How about that? There's a scary thought for you. No. All right. Let's check out our good pals at Breakers.
This portion of Soundwaves TV is sponsored by Breakers, voted Pacifica's best daytime restaurant, serving classic American breakfast, brunch, and lunch specialties. Great food, friendly staff, and amazing views with outdoor dog-friendly seating. Life is better at Breakers. Open daily from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Rockaway Beach. Check out the menu and plan your next visit at ilovebreakers.com.
Yep, Breakers. There's a good chance at least one Sunday a month you just catch at least me and Dennis down there.
That's it.
Enjoying the awesome breakfasts at Breakers.
We actually went there one time when I was, taking a break from
one of your
work.
Wednesdays.
Occasional Wednesdays as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we talked about the past, and I threw kind of a curveball, because, you know, as of right now, you're on the radio. You're not. Yeah. I'm not. So what does the future look like for you? What do you want the future to look like as far as entertainment is concerned?
You know, I really don't know, because, like, and you know this.
Time travel.
Yes.
I mean, let's go back to a time when we could actually ask that question.
And that's the thing, dude, because, like, for me, trying to get back on the radio has been one of the hardest things of my entire life.
That's not a reflection on you.
Oh, I know it's not. No, I know.
That's one of those industries that it's totally there's just finite number.
It is how the industry is, because we all know how much, people are saying radio has died. It's not going to die. It's just going to be continuously limping worse and worse and worse, because, unfortunately the money is not there. There are still listeners listening to terrestrial radio. I still listen to terrestrial radio. I drive a 91 4Runner, which, that's
all you got.
Yeah, that's all I got. The CD, the freaking CD reader doesn't even work. I tried to put a freaking up. It's actually pretty funny. I'm at my job, and my bot, one of the owners comes in like, hey, I was cleaning out, and I thought you might like these. They are original KOME, like, mixed CDs.
Nice.
When they were, I forget who was benefiting, but yeah, classic mix 1, classic mix 2. I'm like,
were those commercially put out? Like
yeah, they were.
K-Fog's Live at the Archives?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll show them. They're in my car. I'll show it to them later. But I'm still going to listen to terrestrial radio because, I was part of that community. I like to still think I'm part of that community. But the problem with radio is that if you don't get that chance to sign off, you are forgotten. You are literally non-existent, which has been my biggest existential crisis as of late. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of weird to... And, I don't want to bash anybody when it comes to this. I'm very happy Nikki Black came back to the Bone. And I'm very happy she's on in the afternoons. But when... No guff on you, Nikki. I love you. But whenever I see her post, like, oh, it's been how many years since I've been back on the radio? And she posts the article where it says replaces Joe Hawk for leaving.
Oh, sure.
I'm just like... Well, at least my name's still in some kind of, aura of the Bone and stuff like that.
That's a hell of a dark road because if you think about it, it's just like you think about these people coming up and they're TikTok stars and that's their whole identity. When you identify as a thing, like I am this.
Yeah.
Right. And that's going to make me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
And then that's taken away. No fault of your own. It's simply
I know.
corporate
It's the
bullshit,
business. It's the
right?
business.
And then you go, well, what am I?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I've tried to subvert that and avoid that my whole life by going, no, it's about the work. And mostly that works. But, those highs are nice and those lows are, I suppose unavoidable.
Yeah.
But it makes what we do, even though we're not rolling in money here, we have a limited budget, as it were. But I mean,
exactly.
it makes the work mean more to me, And I try to bring that to work with me. Yeah, I'm on the radio, but who knows until when,
Yeah.
So everyone could be my last one. So I make sure to have a great time while I'm there.
Especially right now.
Especially right now.
No, that is the important point to take away from this is that if you're doing the thing that you love it now. Because, and if it goes away tomorrow, because who knows? Who knows what corporation is going to buy Cumulus and, all of a sudden you're a Spanish-speaking, gospel state, whatever.
That happened.
Yeah. No, I mean,
KSJO. Exactly.
Okay, so it happens. And that's the thing, because unless you're in control of your own destiny, unless you're in control of your own content and everything, and that's kind of what we try to do with the Soundwaves stuff.
Yeah.
What we're putting out there in the various forms that we're doing, we are in control of that. This is our thing. Nobody is going to come in and say, you can't do Soundwaves. You can't take that away from me.
That's right.
Kind of thing.
That's right.
And if you do, fuck you.
Yeah, well, go ahead and try. And I've recently tried to get back into theater now, and part of the problem is as I am advancing in years, my memory is crap. I can sit here and I could try and rattle off a list of 10 friends that I talked to last week, and I would have to sit here and really kind of struggle to remember names. Not that I don't remember them, but to be able to actually articulate it. Yeah. So as much as I would love to get back on stage and act, because I do enjoy doing that, I know that I'm going to be struggling. I know that what my limitations are.
Like learning the lines and stuff like that.
So one of the reasons I tried to get into voiceover, because I have the script right there, and I can act and I can perform and I can create, but I've got this right in front of me. So that helps.
Yeah.
Voiceover is harder to get into than radio, for fuck's sake.
I have been trying to get I've been trying to get into voiceover work, but it's like,
it's next to impossible.
Yeah.
It really is. To make any halfway decent money at it, it's next to impossible. So that's why I directed a play recently.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I did the directing as opposed to the acting thing. Nice. And it's nice to be in that environment. It's nice to be able to have the creative control and to design a set and to build props and to be in charge of all of this. But I'd like to be that guy up there on the stage doing the thing.
Yeah.
And I know that so that's one of the things when you get to be the ripe old age like me, Joe, when you when you get to be an old coot like me, the thing is I've done a lot of different stuff. You know? I mean, because I was in radio, I was a rock and roll radio DJ. Yeah. I did easy listening radio for a while. And I've acted in film and television and on stage and live performance, character stuff. I've done a lot of different things, and it's all entertainment related.
Yeah.
So for me, see, and I think this is maybe where part of the difference between what you and I are talking about here is your focus seems to be on radio per se.
Yeah.
Because you really want to do radio. And I wouldn't mind doing radio, but it's not the thing that I have to do.
Right.
That's why I've got kind of that blanket performer hat that I put on. I'm a performer, whether I'm dressing up as Charlie Chaplin or Austin Powers, or I'm doing a voiceover thing, or I'm directing. I'm bringing something to people to entertain them.
Yeah.
You know? And that's something to think about. As far as your stuff is concerned, because to have a goal to say I want to be in radio, that's great. It's like me. I've got a TV series that I'm trying to sell right now. I want to be a writer and sell this TV series.
Right.
But that's not the only thing. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to blow my brains out. Or anything.
Right.
I'm not saying that
No.
you are either.
No,
you're
no.
not that far into it and stuff. So the thing is, I think the important takeaway for all of us here is to find why you feel compelled to do the thing you want to do. Whether it's radio or TV or theater or whatever, find out what gives you the joy and the satisfaction in doing that. And if you can't do it in this particular thing, try and find a way to at least get a little bit of that joy back.
Yeah.
I like selling a TV series. You think finding a job in radio or doing voiceover work is hard. Try and sell a TV series,
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, the odds are stacked again. And what the fuck is wrong with us that we pick these things that we feel compelled to do that is like next to impossible?
I don't know.
Now that's the question to ask.
It is. We are literally Atlas or whatever pushing the stone up the hill just to let it drop again and push it back up and all that stuff.
But we keep pushing though.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's one of those things eventually, and it's Sisyphus is who you're thinking.
Thank you.
Eventually, fuck the Greek gods. Eventually we're going to get up and push it over the top. I'm no spring chicken. So, my clock may be running out a little bit. You guys still got a couple good years left in you though. So you'll get there. You'll get there.
Well, it's like I said on the Christmas show last year. All we have is now, and all we have is each other.
Yep.
And so the thing is, what we have is gear, what we have is YouTube, what we have is an opportunity, what we have is a channel, what we have is us.
Yeah.
And so what do we want to do? And I think we're finally to the point where we can do anything we want, And in the past, it's been like, somebody's like, oh, you want to go make a movie? Go make a movie. And you go, oh, excuses. But we don't have any excuses. Our own limitations. That's all we really bump up against is, how hard do I want to make it for myself to say yes?
Yeah.
And I think that's the amazing thing. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But again, my takeaway is that since and I'm not saying anything about anybody else. I'm just saying that I am not the guy in the room that needs the spotlight on me. I would much rather celebrate the people in my room. It's like if we're doing an interview here, Chasta's talking to somebody, you guys are interviewing. I'm over there being your number one fan.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel the pull to be that guy. That said, I think that's a result of just coming to enjoy what I do. Again, to maybe insulate myself from the fact that if I set myself up like I'm going to make $1 billion or I'm going to do whatever, I'm setting myself up to fail. I enjoy the work. I enjoy the people I do it with. Even when I'm by myself and I'm editing or I'm writing or I'm, looking at whatever, I try to find a thing about that I enjoy. That is the thrill for me, is to build the thing, to do the thing,
Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily setting yourself up to fail. I think
Right.
you may be setting yourself up for disappointment, though.
That might.
Because the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is-
No, you're right.
Because the
right.
thing is, why are you doing it? Are you doing it
Yeah.
because you want to be rich? You want to be famous? You want to be that, or do you? Is the satisfaction come out of the product? Because if you love playing music for people. We got Soundwaves TV.
That's right.
You've got the interwebs. You can create your own show to scratch that itch. We've got DJ Bear, and intern Steve. They do programming, hours and hours of programming that people listen to. And if that's why you really got to crank it down to why. If you want to do it because you want to make a living at it, okay, well, maybe you need to find something else to make and I'm talking to myself here. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. You want to be able to pay your bills.
We're each having individual therapy sessions.
Oh yeah, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
We should take turns laying down on the table here. Yeah. But that's the thing. Why do you need to do what you want to do? What gives you that joy? Find a way to do it. that's what we've been doing for 40 years on Soundwaves, because it gives us joy to bring the music to the people.
Yeah.
That's, for me, that's the thing. So that's why I'm satisfied. I get satisfaction out of doing Soundwaves, you know?
If I could walk away and just go, that was cool. You know, it's a bonus when people like it. Of course I want people to like it.
Yep.
Of course I want to build a thing that people like. You know what I mean? And when they do, that's great. But my first line of defense is like, did we have a good time doing it? Do we piss each other off? Do we learn something if we pissed each other off? If we can like take this experience and move out of it and go, yeah, we're better at this now. We're closer now. You know, then to me, that's the first line of defense is, you know, at the end of the day, what all y'all think is none of our business. You know, we hope that you like it. What people think about us, what people think about me. It's like, aren't you concerned about? No, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
All I can concern myself with is the right here and the right now. And if we can make cool shit and we could do it and do it together and respect each other and all grow together, that's it. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'd like a bigger house. And maybe that'll happen. But otherwise, I enjoy this, you know?
Okay, so what do you want out of life? You know, what
What do you want out of us?
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
But seriously, let us know. I mean, get in on the conversation. Let us know what your dreams are, what your desires are, how you're going to get where you want to go, or if you've got some great secrets to share how to get where you're going, let us know.
We'll take it.
Please.
Yep. You know, like, subscribe, do all of those things, and I'm going to raise my glass to you guys because we are artists, we are entertainers,
We are.
and we love doing what we do.
Yes, we
There's
do.
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Close it.
Yeah, we'll discuss this offline.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next Soundwaves TMI, everybody. Cheers.